We're reaching the last chapter of the calendar with the 2022 F1 Usgp, but this season is far from done. The driver's title of course being decided. Max Verstappen retained his championship with a win in Usgp, but there's still a lot to play for. The fight for P2 between Ferrari and Mercedes isn't done just yet. The McLaren v Alpine battle is as interesting as any other battle on the grid. Most importantly, the Usgp will be the first weekend after it was revealed that Red Bull breached the F1 cost cap. F1's return to Austin is going to dust up a storm, but what else can we expect? Obviously there will be lots of paddock discussion after news that came just a day after the Japanese Grand Prix. No team has given an official statement over the infringement from Red Bull. It's now a leaked letter from McLaren sent to the FIA. It requests a stern punishment for Red Bull to help set a precedent, but there's no idea if that statement made the media. In Austin, the most talked about story will definitely be this. Keep an eye out for Toto Wolff and Mattia Binotto discussing the potential damage that the Red Bull cost cap could have caused in terms of the championship. Another key talking point will be the return to the US for the second time this year after Miami earlier. F1 set up home in North America because it's a lucrative market. Owing to this, we will also see a third race in Vegas next year too, of course. There will, however, be intrigues around the kinds of crowd the race is able to pull this weekend. Having multiple races in part of the world where it only makes sense for the demand that it is. The US Grand Prix must have a large crowd this weekend and will be a litmus test, but it certainly looks like it will be. And finally, another key talking point will be the driver market. Haas obviously announced MoneyGram as their title sponsor for the 2023 season, but will we get a verdict on who will be Kevin Magnussen's teammate? Also, who will be Alexander Albon's teammate? Obviously, Gene Haas hasn't been too praising about Mick Schumacher recently, nor for his Gunstein. It maybe looks like he's on his way out, but could Logan Sargent be announced in America for an American driver? Who knows? But anyway, the form guide coming into this weekend. Alpine needs a special mention in this section, as a new floor introduced by the team appeared to have worked wonder by them. In terms of pace, French squad appears to have the fastest car in the midfield. The team reclaimed P4 in the championship in Suzuka, and we're hoping it's to extend the lead over McLaren at the US Grand Prix. But Mercedes has made a lot of noise before the second half of the season. Team claims that plank regulations bring it closer to the front. They're also claims fighting for wins and podiums, and even trying to snatch P2 in the championship. None of those things have happened other than Zandvoort. The car hasn't been a front runner, and the drivers have had a couple of bad races as well. For a team that's been dominating in the sport since 2014, the 2022 season has definitely been humbling for them. Moving back to this weekend, COTA is a perfect juxtaposition of a track that requires great aero efficiency in the first and third sectors and strong straight line speed in the two straights. Looking at the circuit and the form guide that shows 6 wins in the last 7 races, and Max Verstappen will certainly be seen as probably the favourite for this weekend. Aside from that as well, there's other teams that you think could surprise us this weekend, including AlphaTauri, whose season has blown hot and cold at times. At the US Grand Prix, there are sections of the track, the long straights, that should help the Lions, the base squad. Expect them to be competitive. Mick Schumacher also has had a second half of the season with 0 points to his name, but what does it not show is the driver has been performing quite well. If it wasn't for the pit stop issues at Zandvoort, points finish was potentially there. If it wasn't for a disaster strategy in Suzuka, there was a strong opportunity to score points. None of them, however, materialised, and the German has left out of favour of Haas, that's for sure. But the driver has been on the precipice of a strong breakthrough weekend, and could it potentially be this weekend? Who knows? And who might be maybe in for a difficult weekend? The track layout should cause a few concerns for Mercedes, you'd say. The car should work great in downforce defendant S1 and S3, but the two straights are once again going to see a team hemorrhage lap times, the likes of Ferrari and Red Bull. Expect the German squad to be the third fastest car again, probably, but a long way behind the front two. And Sergio Perez has been riding on a wave of strong performances recently. He could be one of the favourites here, but you never know, really, with him. He just doesn't seem to be quite as strong on actual proper tracks compared to street circuits. His job this weekend will probably be all about defeating Charles Leclerc and trying to get that P2 in the championship. On Thursday, in the press conference and around the paddock, of course, the only talking point in town really was the cost cap. Multiple drivers calling for strong penalties. Red Bull drivers probably for a slightly different opinion. It's a very interesting story to follow. It'll be interesting to see where it goes in the next few days. Aside from that, just reflecting on Verstappen championship win, all of the cranes and stuff at Suzuka, which I've already discussed, how Red Bull can win the championship this weekend. I think Ferrari needs to outscore them by 19 points. So it looks pretty sure that they'll win it this weekend. In FP1, it was Carlos Sainz who topped the timesheets for Ferrari. Max Verstappen was in second, Lewis Hamilton was in third, Lance Stroll fourth. Kind of a more representative FP1 session. than usual, really, due to the tyre test in FP2. We saw lots of young drivers, rookies doing FP1. Schwartzman and Plo didn't do too badly. Plo especially was only a few tenths behind Norris. Giovinazzi, though, kind of maybe a runny test for Haas to see if he can get the seat crash 4 laps in. So yeah, safe to say that's not a great audition for him. But anyway, moving on then to FP2, and yeah, it was an hour and a half. They were doing a tyre test, and yeah, to be honest, it was probably one of the dullest sessions I watched in my life. It was kind of a bit like pre-season testing, you know what I mean? Because yeah, I mean, like, they're all just running temporary tyres, and yeah, I mean, like, you couldn't really get an accurate reading at all of who was fast. It was basically all for Pirelli. But anyway, Charles Leclerc topped the timing sheets from Bottas and from Ricciardo, only because they got to run the usual tyres the first half an hour due to missing FP1, basically. Finally, my predictions for this weekend. Yeah, I think it's going to be another weekend that's probably dominated by Red Bull and Verstappen. I'm going to say pole and win for Max. In second, I'm going to say Perez. I don't know, I feel like the Red Bull will be really strong this weekend with those 2 long straights. Could make all the difference for them. So yeah, I think definitely in the race at least, Perez will be stronger then Leclerc, and Perez will come second, Leclerc will come third. Red Bull obviously wrap up the Constructors' Championship, and yeah, I mean, Perez takes a good step towards second in the overall championship. Yeah, my predictions for the weekend. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, don't forget to comment down below and follow us to hear daily F1 news, and subscribe to the channel, subscribe now, greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.